yeah, when you want to determine the authorship. And authorship and the order of authorship, like I said, whether it's the first author, second author, third author, whatever not, it really depends on your decision made between the authors. Yeah, there is no hard rules into it, basically. So how do we determine whether you should be the first or the co-author, whatever not, right? These are the general rules lah. These are the general rules. The first author is the one who takes the primary responsibility for all aspects of the publishing of the paper. And usually the first author should be the main correspondence with the journal, yeah, when you publish the paper. Not necessarily, but should be. Yeah, okay, not compulsory though. The first author should be the one to conduct or supervise the data analysis and interpret the results. This is a very important part. Yeah, interpreting the results is where your knowledge and your expertise will come in. Interpreting the results, yeah, is where your expertise will come in. Okay, and that usually warrants you to be the first author. Writes the paper in consultation with co-authors, it's fine. Yeah. Some supervisors I've seen, they will ask the co-authors or the RA to write the paper, right? And they themselves just do some editing of the paper. Whether it's acceptable or not, it depends on how your involvement in the writings process by your co-author or by your research assistant, right? If you have involved yourself in the consultation of the writing itself, it's fine. Yeah, but the act itself is done by the co-author, but the expertise view coming from you, it's something that can be acceptable sometimes. Okay, yeah, maintains ownership of the master document, submit the paper as I mentioned just now, and responsible for archiving. Yeah, this usually warrants you to be the first author. And the co-authors are usually make early decisions about the aims of the paper, keep the paper on track, and all these things. Yeah, so the main intellectual comes from the first author. The co-author will contribute some portion of the intellectual as well. Okay, again, it will be the agreement. Yeah, the agreement is necessary between the authors. Yeah, to get it done, basically. Okay. Okay, let's do yeah. So as I mentioned earlier on, there are no formal guidelines, basically, yeah. But if you have any questions, if you are with UW Malaysia KU, you can always refer to PGRC, yeah, for the guideline, if you need to, yeah, or for some advice on that. Okay. When human was used as a research subjects, right? So what is our responsibility? Of course, informed consent is a must. Yeah, when you are dealing with a human subject. So it's a statement that describes the study and the researcher and formally request participation. Yeah, so you need the consent from the interviewee, yeah, or the participant. So what are the considerations that you should provide consent? Number one is your age. What is the age required to participate in your research, and whether that particular respondent is able to make their own decision or not. If let's say if you are doing a research on babies, if you are doing a research on babies, whose consent should you get from? Wei Xing, what do you think? If you are doing a research on babies, whose consent do you think you should get from?
Most probably parents.
The parents, right?
Yeah.
Despite you are observing the babies, right? Yes, you're absolutely right. Yeah, you need to get the consent from the parents or the guardian, right? Sometimes it's not the parent but the guardian, yeah, to the for the baby stuff, yeah. In fact, if let's say you want to do observation at the childcare center, for example, at a childcare center, and you thought that you just need to get the consent from the childcare center owner, then it is not right. Yeah, you need to get consent from the parents as well as the childcare center owner also. Yeah, especially as I mentioned there, if you minors, you do need to get consent, yeah, from the right people, basically. Okay. Information about anonymity and confidentiality. Usually, you need to inform the respondent and assure them, right? You need to assure them that whatever their demographic, their name or their contact will be remain anonymous and things like that, right? And also make sure that they are participating in your research on a voluntary basis. Voluntary basis, yeah, whether it's passive versus active consent, as you can see there, right? Active is that consent is provided by the potential participant signing on the consent form. So we usually give a form to the participant to consent, to sign a consent, or sometimes consent is given by not returning the form by verbal. Yeah, you may just ask them and they say okay, but make sure that you have something recorded. Yeah, you do have to record usually. For example, when I do interview, right, online interview or telephone interview, or sometimes I also did a WhatsApp call interview before, yeah, in one of my research I've done earlier on. So I have to ask the participant, are you okay? Are you comfortable if I record the interview, right? Including your consent as well. The participant say yes, okay, then I will record, yeah. If the participant say no, then I will still need the participant to give me a written consent as well. I will send the physical consent form to the participant to fill up and sign and then send it back to me. Yeah, so that is very important step to consider, basically. So these are just some of the content that you may want to include into your consent form itself. Yeah. So don't worry, I will send this document to Hazim later, and he can share with you all, yeah, separately. Deception in research is also very, very essential. Remember just now in the case of Cambridge Analytica, right? Cambridge Analytica, there are also certain elements of deception in their research for their client, basically. Yeah, whether they use a uh, you know seduction method to approach to their potential opposition, or they use students to do survey and things like that. So all these can be deception in present is present, yeah, when the researcher provides misleading information. Like I told you just now, sometimes researchers, they want the respondents to give them answers what they want, right? So they might have deceived the respondent, or in the sense that manipulated the respondents, yeah, to the extent that to obtain their objective of the research in the end of the day. So that is not very, that's not the right way to do. Yeah, definitely is an unethical concern. Okay, if deception is used, a debriefing should be used. Yeah, so debriefing is some of the information regarding the research, especially the procedure or purpose, is not revealed to the participant. Participants have been deceived to some extent. Example, study on children's behavior on junk food, right? So it is always right that you do a debriefing in the end of your research. So then you will give the rights to decide, yeah, whether the data or the feedback given by the participant themselves, they allow you to use it or not. Yeah, so this is just an act of ethical concern, as I mentioned earlier on. Okay, humane care. Yeah, if you are researching on animals, as I mentioned just now, research participants not necessarily must be human being. It also can be animals. So if you are using animals in research, make sure that you use it in a humane care way, right? Especially if it's going to affect the health and well-being, yeah, of the animals or even the human themselves. Yeah. Sometimes it will involve both, right? Maybe the caregiver and the animal together. Yeah. All this needs to be handled properly. To the certain extent, as you see the last point there, right? Carcass of the dead animals should be handled properly. Yeah. If that was one of the thing that is being used particularly. Okay. So need to think a more human way when we involve animals in our research. But of course, due to the awareness and strictness of ethical research practice nowadays. Yeah, a lot of research using animals has been banned, basically. Yeah, a lot of countries do ban that. So it depends on where you are conducting your research. You need to be careful, yeah, in doing this research if you are involving animals. So if you want to know more about research and integrity guideline or concerns, yeah, you can always go into different websites, as you can see here. Uh, UOW also have their own research and with integrity content. These are based on UOW Australia website. Yeah, so it's good for you since you are working with this organization here. It's good for you to look into the values that they have in Australia, yeah, in regards to research and integrity. Okay, now let's do a short pop quiz. Yeah, let's do a short pop quiz. Yeah, after I don't know, from now to 12:30 is about 3 hours ish. Yeah, that we have been talking about this ethics in research and consultancy. Let's do a pop quiz to see your understanding on your thought. Very simple, just one question only. Yeah, of the following ways to do research, which is likely to involve the most serious ethical concerns? Yeah. Number one, in-person interviews. Number two, mail in questionnaires. Number three, observation in a public place. Number four, analyzing data from a secondary source. Number five, content analysis. Yeah, you can type into the chat box 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, which one do you think is likely to involve the most serious ethical concerns? Yeah. Let me just check your feedback. Yeah. So we got a very diplomatic answer here. All of the above. Okay. What about the rest? What about the rest? One, four, 1, 4. Majority is 1, 4. We have one. Shamini said it's 2, 4. Okay. Yeah, 1 and 4. Right. Most ethical concern. Why? But some of you are talking about analyzing secondary data is a serious ethical concerns. Yeah. Why do you think so? Number one is yes. Yeah. In-person interviews. It's a serious concern, but is it really the most? Yeah. The question is the most. So you should have only one answer if it's the most. Yeah. Chin Kian, yes. Chin Kian, why do you think analyzing from a secondary source is the most serious ethical concern? Chin Kian, can unmute yourself to speak. Oh, you are typing. Chin Kian, are you there? Hello. Chin Kian, are you there? Okay, I see Shamini choose 4, right? Shamini, why do you think 4? Analyzing data from a secondary source.
Because as a researcher, you basically did not experience the first-hand um, response kind of thing. It's basically based on what someone else did or something else. I think so. As a
Okay.
researcher, you need to be there as a first-hander.
Okay. But if the data is, for example, yeah, a secondary source can be data published by the Department of Statistics, let's say, right? Department of Statistics came up with the Malaysian demographic data. So you are analyzing those secondary data source. So why would there be a ethical concern?
Okay, I didn't think about that as in
Yeah.
published statistics, but yeah. And
Right.
ask that question, yeah, it makes sense. Why not?
Right.
But
So
but
second, yeah, go ahead.
but at the same time, I think number two also like mail-in questionnaires is something to be concerned about because you don't know who are the actual responders.
Mm.
It's
Okay.
something that you see.
Right. So when you say that in a mail-in questionnaire, when you're unsure who are the respondents, right? So then you will be questioning the validity, lah, isn't it? Right? The validity of the data that you've collected, whether it's from the right person or not.
Yep.
Yeah. But the ethical concern in the sense that will it be affecting the person, affecting the respondent, affecting the human being, for example. Do you still think that mail-in questionnaire will be something that cause maybe the person feels bad or stress or something like that?
Not directly to the person, it's
Not
just the
directly, right?
validity of
Right. Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much, Shamini. Let's hear one more feedback. Albert. Okay. Albert, why do you think the first one? Yeah. Why do you think in-person interviews might involve most serious ethical concerns?
Because in personal interviews, there are many. It always involves many privates, and I think it is the most important things concern about the ethics.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. Right. So when we talk about in-person interviews, right? Yes, as what Albert mentioned, they might involve a lot of um, sensitive things, right? Well, a lot of privacy stuff and things like that as they talk to you. But we always remember, right? We always give an option. Yeah, we always give an option to the interviewees, right? In the essence that you feel uncomfortable, we can stop the interview or you can leave the space if you are, you don't feel like continuing on with the interviews. All this can be done, basically. Correct? Right? As long as we have done the step right, then we will be able to discard, a potential ethical concerns. So in the sense that literally it's the way that you are managing the situation, lah. Yeah. So if you think about it, right, in-person interviews, number one, and mail-in questionnaire, number two, these two things, right, the respondents themselves, they are aware that they are being researched, correct? Yes. Yeah, the first two things, yeah, whether it's interview or questionnaire, the respondents, they themselves are aware. Basically, they are being briefed at least, right? Either in the document or by person, by the interviewer. Yeah, so they're aware. So the ethical concern there is maybe a little bit here and there, but it will not be the major one, basically, right? And the last two, number four, number five, these are all analysis part, right? So these are the data analysis section. So data analysis section, it's all about yourself. There's nothing related to the respondents anymore, right? But when you report the data, if we are doing interview qualitative study, right? I have to send back my interpretation of the findings to the respondent to double confirm and ask them, is this what you really mean? Yeah, when you told me like that, is that really what you mean? Yeah, so that is also another way for us to counter the situation of ethical concern. Yeah, but in fact, if you see the third one, as I told you before, right? The third one is where you do observation in the public space. Yeah, because in your objective, you need to have a non-biased study. Therefore, you cannot inform the respondent that they are being observed, right? However, when the respondents are not being observed, do you feel that you are being violated? Yes or no? If you found out that you are being observed in your workspace, do you feel that you're being violated? You do, right? Yeah, you do, right? Yeah. So therefore, the third one, yeah, in fact, is the most serious concern, yeah, on ethical, because like I said, it's a mismatch of your objective, your research objective, and the validity concern of your findings versus the consent, non-consent. In fact, yeah, it's a non-consent of the respondents happening, yeah, when we do observation in a public place. Okay, so you got to think about how are we going to you can't mitigate it, because like I said, your research is meant to be like that, basically. Yeah. um, you just got to figure out, but anyway, this is the, if you have to use this method, you are binded with this ethical concern. Yeah, like I said, the only way is for you to get ethical committee clearance, yeah, before you can conduct research using observation, so to speak. Okay. Yeah, and the last part that I want to talk to you is only about the plagiarism concern. Yeah, if you're writing papers, please take note. Okay, so as you know, plagiarism is really about using the works, words, and data and ideas of other people. Yeah, I've seen in one of the company university I've worked with before, I've seen one of the academic were found plagiarized significantly, yeah, of another author in Thailand. Okay, and this guy has been doing a lot of publication now, basically, but not in the top journals, more towards to the tier 4 journals, but he has a number, right? And we always question, how can he come up with so many research publication in a year so quickly, you know? And then it was found out, it was one time that an author from Thailand reported the incident to the journal, and it came to the university where I worked with that time. Yeah, then only we found out that he actually has several papers plagiarized, yeah, from other researchers in another part of the world, uh, in a different journal in another part of the world instead. So he thought that it's possible to, you know, run away from it, right? But unfortunately, it's not. Yeah. So that particular plagiarism is really a serious crime. Yeah. It depends on whether that author wants to sue you or not. If that happens, right? In most cases, they would not lah. In most cases, they will not bring this to a court case. Basically, yeah. But they will ask you to withdraw the paper, or usually the journal themselves will drop your paper out. Yeah, and you will probably be banned from publication among the journals in the field where you are in usually. Yeah, and that will definitely tarnish your reputation as a researcher. So it's a very, very risky thing, yeah, to do plagiarism. And always remember, self-plagiarism is also a problem, yeah. Self-plagiarism means that you use your earlier paper, the same content, and put it to the new paper. Yeah, that is what we call a self-plagiarism. That is also not allowed, basically. Yeah, that's also not allowed. Okay, so therefore, it's also very important that you always cite the authors or the owners of their work or words. Yeah, so this is just to give you a little bit of a visual guide to highlight what exactly plagiarism is. I'm sure all of you know about this, as most of you are academics here. Okay, but if you're not writing papers, then this is not really a concern matter for you. However, postgraduate by research students, yeah, whether you're master's or PhD level, make sure that you should always avoid this issue. Yeah, plagiarism issue is not what you want to get into as much as possible. Yeah, you need to avoid that. Okay, so that's all for today. Yeah, as I said, we should complete by 12:30 by right, but I'm sorry, I just run out of 13 minutes here as we start the session late a bit. Any question before we call it a day? Yeah. So this will sum up literally the 3 key learning outcomes of ethics in research and consultancy, yeah, for today's workshop. I hope all of you able to get some new knowledge or new insights, yeah, or perspective about what ethics is about, particularly when we implement this into research and consultancy. And of course, when you conduct your own research, you do need to take note on the ethical concerns on your own. If not with your researcher, other members as well. Okay, and hope all of you had a good time and you learned something from me today. If you have any questions, yeah, you can always, I'm happy to receive any emails, yeah. I just type in my email for you all here. Okay. If you have any questions about research, I'm always happy to share my own thoughts with you, yeah. But again, like I said, there's nothing right and wrong. In research, it's all about how you support your arguments and your articulations, right? Yeah. Otherwise, there's nothing. Nobody can say that you are right or wrong, basically. Yeah, and that's the beauty of research, lah. Okay, good. Thank you very much, everyone. Yeah, hope to see you guys in person in one day in the future, and take care. Yeah. Stay safe, everyone. Bye bye. Thank you very much.